Alive and Well is brought to you by Pine Rest Christian Mental Health Services.
This segment is sponsored by Pine Rest. As Valentine's Day approaches and couples are focusing on celebrating their romantic relationships, we asked Dr. Greg Mallis from Pine Rest if he would stop by and share some tips on one of the key aspects of a healthy relationship. We're talking good communication, especially when conflict arises. Hi, Dr. Mallis. Good to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Well, let's dive in on this. Is communication one of the trouble areas that you often address with folks who come to see you?
It is. Most of the couples that I see, communication is at least one of the aspects that we talk about, if not the main aspect that we talk about. And the important thing to remember is that communication is all sorts of things in a relationship. It's not just the words that you're using, it's how you use the words, it's how you're listening to your partner as well.
Communicating when things are going well and when they're going not so well, right?
Absolutely.
I've heard the term fair fighting.
Yes.
This is the not so well part, right? What is fair fighting, and is that something that you espouse?
Yeah, so one of the things to remember is that conflict is a natural part of relationships, any kind of relationship, but especially romantic relationships. Conflict is going to be a part of it. That's not the measure of a healthy relationship. The measure of a healthy relationship is how a couple deals with conflict. And that's where these fair fighting rules come in that really help people to understand how to effectively get your point across, but also listen and understand what your partner is saying in order to come to some sort of resolution.
Okay, you have given me some skills that
Yes.
couples should work on, and I want to toss them out to you and have you kind of explain.
Yeah.
You say, ask yourself what is leading to your emotion. What does that entail?
Right, so what that is talking about is that most of the time when we're in conflict, we might be on the surface in conflict about the dishes or the trash, two very common things that couples fight about. But nobody really cares about the dishes or the trash, right? What is happening is that there is some emotion underneath that is being activated, whether it is feeling not important enough, you're feeling like you're not being taken care of by your partner, you feel like they don't react or respond in the way that you're wanting. That's the thing that we need to get to, because if we're just talking about the dishes, we're not really making progress. We got to get down to, I'm not feeling cared about by you. I'm not feeling like we're putting in the same effort here.
Okay, you say focus on one issue at a time, no big dumps, right?
Right, and we definitely don't want to always be pulling things from the past. That's oftentimes what people do when they get in communication or conflict. They're in conflict about the dishes. Well, you didn't take out the trash last week. Well, you didn't pick me up from the airport 3 weeks ago. That's not helpful, right? Deal with the issue that is presently. Let's talk about this, and if you've got another legitimate issue that you want to talk about, great. We can talk about that after we've talked about this.
You say use I statements to focus on your experience.
Right, so when we're communicating, especially in conflict, if we're saying you a lot, you do this, you do that, it feels very aggressive, feels very much like you are blaming them. So instead of a you-focused conversation, we turn it to an I-focused conversation. I am feeling this way when this happens. Right? When I'm not feeling like I'm being helped, I feel alone in this relationship. Because it's harder to argue with your feelings than it is to what I'm saying you are doing.
You advise us to work to understand our partner and their experience.
Yeah, so a big thing is when you're in communication, especially conflict, you want to talk. You want to be in that conversation, listening to understand. Most of the time, and I'm guilty of this as well, we're listening in order to respond to what they're saying. We don't want to do that because that means we're not understanding someone's experience. I want to listen to make sure that I know. And that might mean saying, what I think you're saying is this. What I'm hearing is this. Is that correct?
That can be validating for the other person, right?
Incredibly
they're
validating.
Me.
Right, and it also gives them the opportunity to say, no, that's not really it.
You say pause if emotions become too high and work to find a win for both sides. So both people can walk away feeling like, oh,
right,
that
and
was
that
good.
win doesn't mean that you get everything that you want. Sometimes it just means that, okay, we've come to a consensus that we can agree upon. It's not great, but we're both agreeable to it and we can move on.
Okay, so resources that you might recommend for couples who want help?
Yeah, so if you're really struggling, I think getting a professional involved can be really helpful. The professional's not going to take anyone's side. They're going to help you to understand what is the cycle of conflict that you are in. So at Pine Rest, we've got plenty of therapists who specialize in couples counseling and marital counseling who would be happy to do that. I think there are some additional resources. There's a book that I like to tell people about, which is The 5 Love Languages, which helps people to understand their needs in relationships relationship and to communicate them more effectively.
All right. Well, for more information and you want to schedule that appointment for couples therapy, call 866-852-4001 or visit their website, pinerest.org. Dr. Mallis, thanks.
Happy to do it.